Hello, I'm Karma Kitaj. I'm your host for A Livelihood, New Careers as We Age. And today I'm going to introduce you to Ronald Greene. Ron has been a nurse for many decades at Mass General Hospital here in Boston. And he retired from his longtime career, and now he's doing some very interesting things that we're going to hear about. So, welcome, Ron.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank you,
have you
Carmen.
here.
I'm flattered to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I know, as I just said, you were a nurse for many years at Mass General Hospital.
Right.
And I think from some of the stories you've told me that you began your creative life early on. So even though you were a nurse and maybe there was not too much creativity allowed in that profession, you were seen by some of your coworkers as really having an eye for
Right.
visual things. And I think you told me actually that people used to sometimes come up to you and say, Bonnie, should I wear this or not?
Exactly.
Right?
They did. I mean, I've always liked clothes and everything, so. And it worked now. But I've always been into doing creative things. I just never knew when I was a kid that it was a creative thing. And then when I got older and got my own apartment, I always liked the idea of decorating, and so I just did it.
Yeah.
I never grew up wanting to drink or doing drugs or anything. And, I knew I had to graduate from high school, and I actually used to be a printer. And I got my got a degree.
Before you went into nursing.
Got a degree in printing. And one day I was at work and I just couldn't stand it because it was like Pavlov's dog. You had to stand there and watch the machine go around and take a break, and it drove me crazy. So I quit and I went to the unemployment office, and they gave me all these tests to take, but they were all about carburetors and all this stuff, and I didn't know a carburetor from a tire. So so this man told me that they were looking for men to go into nursing, and he got me a job at Bethesda Hospital at Audley. And then when the school opened up, he actually called me. And I started going, and the irony of it all is that 25 years later, he ended up being my patient, and I didn't realize he was the same person. But I really loved being a nurse. I mean, it was, and then I worked in the emergency department, and that was great. So that was just, to me, the be-all and all of everything. So.
And you stayed at one institution for...
Yeah, I stayed at one institution for a long time, but I moved around within the institution, which gave me a lot of visibility, and at the same time, it gave me a great avenue of learning from the above, because it's sitting at the table with other people that you'd never be exposed to and everything.
There's something about, having confidence, too, I think. Yeah. So do you think there was ever a time, though, when you felt that you didn't have so much confidence about trying something new? Or you felt self-conscious about it?
I think when I was younger, for sure. I can, and I guess we're here to talk about everything, but I can remember a teacher standing up in the front of the room, and she told the rest of the class that they should come to school dressed like me, which I think was absolutely terrible for the rest of the class. And I felt real self-confident. I felt terrible about it. But I realized when I went home...
So you mean back then, Ron, you were dressing in a...
Oh, yeah, I always liked clothes. My mother had the hardest time with me, and my father would go furious.
So, after you left MGH, which was how long ago now?
I retired in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
which I didn't think... I had it all planned, but it wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Oh.
Because I don't think you realize how much time you put into a place, for me anyway, that it's really is more of your family than what you see of your own family.
So it sounds like you managed your feelings about having left by spending some of your time out in Arizona.
Right.
Right. And
then coming back, I spent my time with whatever I needed to do at home.
I know, from what we talked about, that you've been exercising all these creative talents that that you've had since you were very young, I guess.
Yeah.
And what did we call you for this show? An event
creator
or something?
Right, because I didn't want to be an event coordinator.
Right.
Because
creator is more to the point.
Exactly. There's so much more that I can do, and I like doing it, and it's fun. of course, everybody would like to do something that they got to do it their own way.
So we should show some of those photographs up on the screen. We have a bunch of photographs of this fantastic wedding.
Yeah, this young lady got hired. She was graduated from school, and I met her, and she couldn't get a job, and I actually got her a job at Mass General Hospital 17 years ago.
Oh, I see. And there she is, right?
Yeah, there she is. That's Risha.
So did you design this cake, or?
Well, the cake was pretty much already designed, but I wanted to pick the colors and everything because the whole wedding was based on the Harlem Renaissance, and I spent a lot of time researching the colors and what was the big color back then and so forth. And they don't show it on that table, but even on that table I took beads that you would use for Christmas trees, and I wrapped them all around the bottom of the cake, and they're the same colors as the flowers. And then I bought these big chunks of what look like ice and everything, and they're all over the table and everything. And her dress that she has is it has a crystal tool. I can't remember the word. Tool. Yeah. Yeah. Tulle. Right. Yeah. And it's all crystallized, and it actually comes down over the whole dress. And the dress I didn't want to have a train. I wanted her to have a puddle dress, which actually comes down when you imagine the singers at the microphone years ago, and the dress kind of swirls around on the floor. And then I decorate. They always call these sweetheart tables when the bride and groom were sitting up there. This was called the Renaissance table. So that vase on the right with the pearls and everything actually comes from my bedroom because I designed it for my wife, and it sits on top of her jewelry cabinet. And the tables, and then in the tall vases there up in the right-hand corner, I had jewelry taped to the bottom of the flowers. So all the tall vases had jewelry coming down.
Well, it sounds like you really love doing this sort of thing. And you said you've also done a funeral, right?
Unfortunately, I have done funerals, and my parents, my brothers, one of my friends, her daughter died, and she didn't attend church or anything, and she and her husband wanted her to have a funeral that they could have their religious part of it, but at the same time they could just have their daughter. So they asked me to speak, so I met with them to find out different stories about her when she was a youngster and everything and all that kind of stuff.
So we also want to look at the photographs of the other piece that you like to do, which is decorating homes. You've decorated several homes, I guess. Your house in Arizona and also here in the
reason why that's up there is because that is wallpaper, and it's Art Deco wallpaper, and it goes from our second floor down to our first floor. It actually has been up, I'm not even sure how long ago I did it, but the thing that amazes me about it is that every time people come to our house, they go, "Where did you get this wallpaper? This is absolutely beautiful."
Yeah. Okay, so let's see some of these other pictures.
My wife and I are very fortunate because we have our own bathrooms, which I think saves every marriage.
Your own separate bathroom.
Own separate bathrooms, and this is a part of mine, and I have a lot of Afrocentric things in my bathroom. So that mirror on the wall was a wedding present for somebody, and when I took it home, I said, "No, they can't get this." So, so I hung it in my bathroom. And I have Asian calligraphy coming down the side of the wall as well. This is the family room, and I just finished putting up that wallpaper there. And I was in the store with those fake bittersweets, and this lady said to me, "What are you going to do with those?" I said, "I'm going to put them on the window with white shears, and then I bought these beads to go underneath them and everything."
So let me ask you this question now, Ron, when we only have a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
And so if someone came to you and said, I want you to design the interior of my house, but I like things really simple and Spartan. What you're showing us here is so rich and complex. So I'm wondering if someone wanted something that was very different, is that something you think you could do, or?
Oh, I think I could be able to do it, but I think that after talking with the person and everything, that if I felt that this is too plain for me, I would be honest and let them know. And I think a lot of people sometimes downplay what they have the ability to bring to their own place, and I don't know if it's because people settle for it or they just don't want to experiment with it.
Well, I appreciate getting to know you, Ron.
I
This
appreciate
has been
you inviting me
delightful.
to be here. It's been great.